Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, Anthropic defies the Pentagon over lethal AI use, risking a blacklist that threatens its exclusive top-secret clearance. So we'll discuss why this clash over AI ethics is unprecedented and what it means for the future of AI in national defense. Second, ASML's 1,000-watt EUV breakthrough to yield 50% more chips, cementing its monopoly over US and Chinese competitors. We'll explore how this leap in manufacturing efficiency could transform the global chip war and impact semiconductor costs for tech giants. Third, Anthropic's new AI tool that automates COBOL modernization causes IBM's stock to plummet nearly 13%. We'll analyze why this AI disruption is a turning point for legacy systems and how it could affect critical financial infrastructure stability. Fourth, Anthropic's new AI vulnerability scanner sparks a massive cybersecurity stock sell-off, raising fears of industry-wide disruption. This discussion will reveal how this connects to the dual-use paradox in AI and what it means for the future of enterprise security platforms. Fifth, Microsoft's $76 billion Xbox spending spree results in studio closures, massive layoffs, and a fundamental identity crisis. In this episode, we'll break down this massive strategic failure and what it signals for the future of gaming, subscription models, and console ecosystems. The story begins with a decision that caught everyone by surprise. An unnamed defense official just described an upcoming meeting with a major AI company as a shit-or-get-off-the-pot meeting. The two sides are locked in an existential battle with the future of artificial intelligence in national security on the line. The company is Anthropic, and it's in a head-on collision with the Pentagon over three words: any lawful use. The Pentagon is demanding new terms to use Anthropic's powerful AI for anything, including lethal autonomous weapons and mass domestic surveillance. We've talked before about how Anthropic hard-coded safety into its brand, donating $20 million to candidates backing AI regulation and insisting that AI companies must serve the public good. Today, that stance is colliding headfirst with the Pentagon's demands. So the thing is, Anthropic's current policy actually aligns with existing Pentagon rules, specifically a directive known as 3000.09. This rule mandates appropriate levels of human judgment over the use of force. By demanding any lawful use, the Pentagon is essentially asking Anthropic to pre-approve future policy changes that haven't even happened yet, changes that could eliminate the human in the loop entirely. Anthropic is refusing, citing its ethical red lines. But here's the bombshell. Competitors like OpenAI and Elon Musk's XAI have reportedly already agreed to the Pentagon's demands. For OpenAI and XAI, this was a much easier concession to make. The reason is simple. Their AI models aren't cleared for the military's most sensitive, classified work. They agreed to terms for unclassified systems, which cost them very little. Anthropic is in a very different position, and that's why it's bearing all the risk. We previously noted that Anthropic's push to shape regulation can double as a competitive weapon, but it can also invite exactly this kind of blowback. In response, the Pentagon is threatening to label Anthropic a supply chain risk, a designation typically reserved for foreign espionage. Now, get this designation gives the Pentagon the power to exclude a contractor completely. Historically, it's a tool used to protect national security from outside threats, not to publicly strong-arm a leading American tech company into changing its ethics policy. This is an unprecedented public threat, and this isn't just about Anthropic's $200 million contract. The ripple effect would be devastating. If Anthropic is blacklisted, any company that works with the military, from AWS to Palantir, would be forced to drop Anthropic's AI systems. We've seen Anthropic's product moves trigger market shocks before, but a blacklist would be an operational shock, forcing unwinds across the entire defense tech stack. This high-stakes pressure campaign is being driven by a new Pentagon memo prioritizing speed above all else, calling for AI integration from campaign planning to kill chain execution, and stating, "We must accept that the risks of not moving fast enough outweigh the risks of imperfect alignment." But Anthropic holds one massive piece of leverage that changes the entire game. Its AI, Claude, is the only frontier model cleared to use classified information. Believe it or not, this isn't just any clearance. We're talking about Impact Level 6, or IL6, the highest level, authorizing an AI to process top secret national security information. Getting this is incredibly difficult. And right now, Anthropic is the sole supplier. Blacklisting them wouldn't just hurt Anthropic, it would create a critical vulnerability for the Pentagon itself. We were just talking about a high-stakes clash in the world of AI software. Now, let's shift our focus to the absolute bedrock of hardware that makes it all possible. A company at the heart of the global chip war just revealed its new weapon, a machine that shoots 100,000 molten tin droplets every second and blasts them with a massive laser, creating a state of matter hotter than the sun. Let's break down what's happening inside that machine. The goal is to create extreme ultraviolet, or EUV, light, the only light with a wavelength short enough to etch today's most advanced chips. When the laser hits a tin droplet, it vaporizes it into a plasma that emits that precious EUV light. A surprising detail here is the incredible inefficiency. We're talking about an energy efficiency of only about 0.02%. To get just 200 watts of EUV light, these machines need to draw over a megawatt of electrical power. That company is ASML, and it holds a complete monopoly on this technology. Its dominance wasn't an accident, It's the result of over 3 decades of relentless research and development. In 2012, giants like Intel and TSMC had to co-invest over $4 billion just to help them crack the code. The technology is so complex that the barriers to entry are just immense. Now, ASML is making a power play to solidify that dominance, announcing a breakthrough that could yield 50% more chips by the end of the decade. This is happening while the United States and China are desperately trying to catch up. And while China has made impressive progress, it still faces huge gaps in critical areas. Meanwhile, startups in the US have raised hundreds of millions to do the same. Actually, even with all that funding, these startups are trying to catch a moving target that just hit the afterburners. ASML is announcing this massive leap forward before its main US-backed competitors have even shipped a single commercial machine. With this move, ASML aims to outdistance them all. Its researchers have found a way to boost their machine's power from 600 watts to a massive 1,000 watts. For chip makers, that means going from processing 220 silicon wafers an hour to 330. This decision brings both huge benefits for chip makers and comes with inherent risks for their competitors. A single EUV machine can cost up to $200 million. By processing 50% more wafers per hour, companies like TSMC and Intel can spread that enormous cost over many more chips, dramatically lowering the cost per chip and strengthening their advantage. And this isn't a future promise. An ASML technologist confirmed, it's not a parlor trick. It's a system that can produce 1,000 watts under all the same requirements that you could see at a customer. But that's not the whole picture. ASML says this is just the start. The company now sees a reasonably clear path toward 1,500 watts and no fundamental reason why we couldn't get to 2,000 watts. In the high-stakes race for technological supremacy, the company in the lead just hit the accelerator. Speaking of tech giants, one of the original titans, IBM, just got slammed, falling almost 13% in a single day. The reason? That same AI disruptor we mentioned earlier, Anthropic, just figured out how to crack one of its oldest and most critical businesses. Anthropic's new tool, Claude Code, is targeting a programming language from the late 1950s called COBOL. It might sound ancient, but for decades, it's been the unsung hero of modern finance. The problem is a demographic time bomb. The average COBOL programmer is around 58, and they are retiring at a rate of 10% per year, creating a massive brain drain. Let's start with a single statistic that might just change your entire perspective on this. An estimated 95% of all ATM transactions in the United States still run on it. And it's not just ATMs. The reliance is staggering, with about 43% of all core banking systems globally, depending on this language. Hundreds of billions of lines of COBOL are active every day. For years, IBM's business has been helping companies modernize this legacy code. Now, is this a fatal blow? The market certainly reacted that way. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer to this story. While this service is important, IBM is a massive, diversified company with strong software revenue and a growing AI business. But now, Anthropic claims its AI can automate work that used to take human analysts months. The process is so difficult and dangerous because these old COBOL systems contain what experts call dark matter, decades of undocumented business rules and workarounds that exist only in the code. Research shows 80% of major banking system migrations fail because of this hidden complexity. If an AI misinterprets a rule, the results could be catastrophic. What really brought this to a head was Anthropic's direct shot at the old guard in a company blog post stating, Legacy code modernization stalled for years because understanding legacy code costs more than rewriting it. AI flips that equation. This isn't an isolated attack. It's part of a wider trend that has investors on edge, creating a sell first and ask questions later environment. Just last week, Anthropic sent cybersecurity stocks tumbling with another new capability. This latest development shows just how fast AI is disrupting established industries. For IBM, the damage is significant, with its shares down more than 22% year to date. This isn't just about one company's stock. It's a race against time to save our most critical infrastructure from becoming obsolete, and it highlights the massive risks in trusting AI with the keys to the kingdom. We were just talking about Anthropic's disruption of legacy systems. Well, that's not the only industry they're shaking up. Another announcement from the same AI lab just sent the entire cybersecurity sector into a nosedive after its new tool for automatically scanning code for vulnerabilities had investors convinced the industry's business model is under threat. Anthropic's move is a classic land and expand strategy. They chose code scanning as an entry point, and their AI is incredibly effective. During testing, it identified over 500 previously unknown high-severity security flaws in open-source libraries, finding threats that traditional tools miss. This is the wedge they're using to break into the massive enterprise security market. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Major players like CrowdStrike and Zscaler saw their stocks drop about 10% each, while Netscope and Tenable plummeted 12%. A key cybersecurity ETF fell to its lowest level since November 2023. If this feels familiar, it's because it follows the same pattern of market shock we've seen before from Anthropic. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. The big question is whether this is a rational market correction or just AI-driven panic. We've seen this before, and the initial reaction is often an overreaction. After all, a company like CrowdStrike just posted a 73% year-over-year increase in new recurring revenue, suggesting its fundamentals are still strong. The fear, however, runs much deeper. It's about something called the dual-use paradox. If AI can be used to find vulnerabilities for the good guys, it can also be weaponized by attackers to find and exploit those same vulnerabilities, creating a dangerous arms race. The industry's biggest players are not taking this lying down. CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz went on the defense, stating, "Let's stay grounded in reality. An AI capability that scans code does not replace the Falcon platform or your security program." His argument is that a code scanning tool is a point solution, whereas a platform like CrowdStrike's Falcon is an integrated, multi-layered defense system that already uses AI extensively. Interestingly enough, this same AI-driven disruption has already rattled software giants like Salesforce and ServiceNow. The battle lines are now drawn. New, agile AI versus established, multi-billion-dollar security platforms. While analysts at Bank of America maintain AI doesn't have the reliability to replace end-to-end systems yet, they admit it poses a significant threat to specific functions. The reason analysts believe AI can't just take over is because of the enterprise trust gap. Corporate security leaders are not going to hand over the keys to their entire kingdom to an autonomous AI. Recent surveys show 67% of chief information security officers have limited visibility into how AI is used, and 78% have no formal strategy to manage it. Without governance, the risk is just too high. The warning shot has been fired, and investors are voting with their wallets again. We've been talking a lot about market disruption from the outside, but our final story today is about a crisis brewing from within. Microsoft spent over $76 billion to build a gaming empire. The result? Catastrophic layoffs, studio closures, and an identity crisis so deep that nobody seems to know what an Xbox is anymore. Behind those numbers, while the acquisitions did boost Microsoft's gaming revenue by nearly 40%, they also came with massive integration costs, leading to an operating loss of over $1.3 billion. It's a high-stakes gamble that doesn't always pay off. The architect of this strategy, Phil Spencer, just announced his retirement. His vision was to create a Netflix for games with the Game Pass subscription service, leading to the $7.5 billion Bethesda deal and the staggering $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The bet was to win with subscribers, not console sales. As Spencer himself said, the business isn't how many consoles you sell. The Netflix for games model, however, fundamentally misunderstands how people engage with games. We binge a TV season in a weekend, but a single game can take hundreds of hours. Plus, with in-game purchases being a huge revenue driver, an all-you-can-play subscription is less valuable. The reality is, While Netflix has over 270 million subscribers, gaming subscriptions make up less than 10% of the industry's revenue. The results were stark. Game Pass subscribers plateaued at 34 million, far short of the 100 million goal. Putting Call of Duty on Game Pass reportedly led to $300 million in lost sales. And after the biggest acquisition spree in gaming history, Microsoft shuttered beloved studios and laid off thousands. This isn't just about Microsoft, it's part of a painful, recurring cycle in the gaming industry where a big publisher buys a creative studio only to shut it down after one underperforming project, leading to a less diverse gaming world. The situation presents a fascinating duality. After spending billions on exclusives, Xbox is now one of the biggest publishers on its chief rival's console, the PlayStation. That brand has become so watered down that an official ad campaign tried to position an Xbox as any device that can play its games. That campaign, believe it or not, was an intentional strategy to make Xbox everywhere, but it backfired spectacularly. Core fans felt alienated, and the message was so confusing that even former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra called it the wrong idea, wrong time, creating a perception that Microsoft was no longer committed to its own hardware. Now, a new CEO from Microsoft's AI division, Asha Sharma, is taking over, promising the return of Xbox. This signals a huge pivot, as her background is in AI and e-commerce. In a twist, she directly addressed fears of automated game creation, promising, "We will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop." Her challenge is to execute a return to Xbox that starts with the console while still pushing across PC, mobile, and cloud, the same high wire act that has tangled this brand before. Whether that becomes a true course correction or just another identity rewrite is the test.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.